We're just gonna make a video today.
Yeah, we're going to. Alright, sweet. I always wanted to make videos.
Want to be in the video?
No, I have more important things to do, like find the Mickey Mouses. I'm gonna get them and I'm gonna eat good for once. None of this kibbles and wits.
What's the wits?
I'm up to my wits' end with you.
So Peanut's been back for like a week now, and she won't leave my side. She's like obsessed with me now. I think she's scared to go back to the pound.
You right, I'm scared. That was horrible. I put a noose around my necking.
Let's get back to this video.
Okay. I'm so excited for it. I cannot wait to see this videos.
So in the last two videos, you've seen me cut my metal trim. You've seen me drill my metal trim. Now, I did shit on these tools a little bit in those videos, but after doing like more research on these tools, I've discovered that basically both of them are made by a manufacturer in China, basically, and then they sell them to another company who puts their sticker on them and then sells them to us. Probably all seen a hammer pretty much just like this. You know, Wrangler Star, I think, did a video on it, like the world's cheapest hammer or something, or cheapest hammer you can buy on Amazon. But this hammer is made in China by some company. They sell it to another company that puts their own little packaging on it, puts a little sticker on it, a little bow, and then sells it to you for more than what they paid.
I ate some wild mushrooms.
Same concept with these things. One thing that I noticed that the companies did to upgrade these things was to put a different switch, an on and off switch on these things. But I've been extremely impressed with both of them, especially that step drill bit. That step drill bit has just made this insanely easy. So now that most of the pieces are cut and drilled, I've got them all stacked up over here, and I want to start doing the finishing process on these pieces. Now, I did do some tests and tried out my little thing that I wanted to do, and it was very difficult. So I ended up coming up with 7 different finishes that I could potentially put onto these. I'll show you that picture from the left to the right. The left, number 1 is going to be raw steel. 2 is going to be raw steel with a clear gloss. 3 is an acid treatment. 4 is an acid treatment with a clear coat. 5 is just a flat black paint. 6 is a semi-gloss black paint. And 7 is a high gloss black paint. So the first finish was just the raw steel. The reason I don't like the raw steel is that these are totally different colors. Like when they came from the foundry, is that what it's called? The mill, wherever this stuff's made. They come with this like stuff on it. I think it might be a paint, but I doubt it. I don't know what it is. But like you can kind of see, these are totally different pieces. So if I were to just put these up, it's going to look stupid because some of them have more rust in them. Some of them have been sitting in the warehouse for longer than others. So it's just not consistent. And that's also why the number 2 choice, the clear coat on top of this, wouldn't work because it's different looking. Now, number 3 and number 4 is an acid treatment. To get that acid treatment on, I need to sandblast these, and then I need to soak them in the acid and then either clear coat it or not. It's a very durable finish, and it's one of my favorites. I posted that picture on Instagram and Facebook, and a lot of people like the flat black paint. And I kind of agree with that, but it doesn't have the character that I want my trim to have. Like, if I'm going through all this time to make this trim look like a certain way, I want it to be like really one of a kind. And I kind of like that cast iron type look, is what the acid treatment kind of does to it once I clear coat it. It looks like a cast iron skillet that's been like oiled and stuff. I think it looks good. But I did like the flat black paint. The only thing I noticed is that when you paint it black, this is the semi-gloss one. It's not bad looking. It's not very durable. So when I'm moving these together and bringing them around and shit, if I just rub them up against each other, they just get scratched to shit, and the paint peels right off. These are actually much more durable than they were the other day. So I'm not going to paint it. I'm going to do that acid treatment. Now, that acid treatment is the hardest thing to do, and it is the most costly thing to do. So what I did with Tiny House Terry, the trailer for Terry, I took all the steel trailer to a sandblaster and had him sandblasting. It was pretty cheap. It was like $100. I could have done the same thing with all this raw steel that I have. But I'm figuring every time I go, he's going to charge me at least $80 to $100. And I'm probably going to have to go 4 or 5 times. So that's $400 to $500. I'm roughly guessing. Obviously you can't quote me on any of that shit. But I felt like it would be best if I invested in a sandblaster. So I did. I bought this thing right here. This is just your basic sandblaster. It's a small little guy. Again, same concept with those tools right there. This is, made in China, sold to a manufacturer. They change stuff out a little bit. I didn't buy this from Harbor Freight, but Harbor Freight sells a very similar model. It's just their spray nozzle that's on the gun is a little bit different. The reason I went with this one is because that spray nozzle was better than the one Harbor Freight has. Also, they have different things here. They have upgrades here on some of them and downgrades on some of them. But basically, your standard, maybe 20-gallon or 20-pound sandblaster. This is a 5-gallon, 40-pound sandblaster from All Source. I got it from, I think, Northern Tools, which I've never really done Northern Tools. I've just walked around. First thing I ever bought from Northern Tools. But that was $120. I bought some gloves. Those were like $10. You wouldn't believe it, but I bought one of these masks. These are really good. I used to shit, like, those really crappy paper ones you get. Those things suck. You can't breathe. This thing, not bad at all. You can actually breathe pretty well. And then I bought some sand, and I bought this sand from Northern Tools. This was almost like $50 for, I think, 25 pounds. It was very expensive, and when I was first starting this project, all I did was set up a tarp right here and kind of like made like a little catch for it all, and I sandblasted towards it. And after doing just 2 pieces, I lost about half of my sand throughout this room. So what I did was I made this sandblast cabinet, just a basic, simple piece of storm window glass, and then a box with a tapered little bottom on it with a hole right here, so it pours down into a bucket. I also hooked up my vacuum cleaner to it to create a negative pressure inside this thing, which cuts down a lot on the dust when I'm sandblasting. So I'm going to do my best to show you how I've been sandblasting these and getting these ready for the acid treatment. One thing I've been using a lot of is lacquer thinner. This lacquer thinner helps clean these pieces of metal throughout this entire process. First thing I do is I got a lot of oil on these pieces of metal. I want to get that off. So I'm going to take some lacquer thinner. Don't get this shit in your eyes. Oh my god, it burns like the freaking dickens. Holy cow, I got some in my eye last night. It's like 2 hours of just pure burning. I almost went to the doctors. Never! Bastards, cost so much money. American healthcare for you. So I've cleaned off the oil residue that was on these. I'm just going to let these dry for a few seconds. The lacquer thinner really dries out pretty quickly. It's just going to get really loud from here on out. So the property that I stay at, they have a large air compressor, much bigger than anything I have. I've been using that to supply air to my sandblaster. It's still a little underpowered, but if I adjust my air right and adjust my sand right, I can normally use all the sand before the air runs out. So it's been working for me for the most part. This sandblaster, it comes with different nozzles you can put on there. This thing used to be spring loaded and this would shut, but I found that this handle was extremely hard to squeeze open, so I just zip tied it completely open. It's kind of bad, but I don't know. Is it like zip tying a trigger to a nail gun? I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I've done that. So honestly, I've been wearing this. I've been wearing this. Whenever I put this on, you can't hear me. You understand? So instead of wearing that, I'm not going to for one piece. So I did end up going to Harbor Freight and buying 3 of these 25-pound things. It's 70 grit black aluminum oxide. I don't know what the hell that is, but it does what I need it to do. So on each end of the box, I've got like a 2.5-inch hole drilled, so I can run long stuff through this entire thing. So I hooked up my air hose to this thingamajiggy. I'm going to open this valve, but I'm also going to take my finger and plug the end of the spray nozzle at the same time so that this thing can build up pressure. I'm only using a 1/4-inch air hose. I probably should be using a 1/2-inch air hose and a bigger compressor. Last night I did something stupid. When I finished up last night, I wanted to get ready for today, so I cleaned the box out, and then all the dust that was in the vacuum, I dumped it in here too, which was stupid because now I put all those really fine particles that were in the sand, I put that back into the system versus just letting that go. So if you're going to do this little vacuum setup, throw that shit out. I got extra sand for a reason. But it's super dusty, so. But I do like the sandblaster. I mean, it's been working really well for me, and I've been able to like kind of work pretty decently. I could probably do like 4 of these pieces, and then the sand runs out and I have to clean it all up. One thing I like about having that air hose pinched open is that it always pushes out any sand that's in the hose, so I'm not having the hose get blocked up or whatever. I'll just basically control this thing, and then I'll shut the air off after I hear all the sand come out. And then also I want to check my pressure gauge, make sure it's at 0. Sometimes I've been taking this off and opening this to be sure that there's no air in this tank, because you're basically releasing it. But you unscrew that, hook the funnel up to it, clean all this stuff out, take that bucket and dump it into here. Yeah. There it is. Good. So there you can see it. I mean, there's some water drops from my sweat. But I got that edge, both sides, didn't do the back. Front's good. Also notice that it's important that I do the ends, especially if the ends are going to be exposed. Helps the acid take better. And then back to the good old lacquer thinner. A lot of it, using a lot of it. Cleaning the piece off, getting some of that, what is that called, residuals? Now, you have to keep in mind that I'm doing this to like literally 100 pieces. It's a lot of work to get this finish. I know some of you will be like, why, Dan? Have you not been watching my videos? Like, have you not been paying attention at all? Like, it doesn't matter. It's just time. I've got all the time in the world.